Men. And as usual, I use the term ever so loosely. Uh, got the valve job done yesterday. We'll show you that in a little bit. Today, we're going to test fit the rocker arms in my cutaway rocker box. Test fit it onto the heads and make sure that the rocker arms do not rub in this area on the upper spring collars. So let's pop them in there. This should be a piece of cake. So I'm going to pop these rocker arms into my cutaway rocker box cover and temporarily bolt this onto the finished heads, and I'm going to make sure that the rocker arms do not rub on the upper spring collars in this area here, right in here, because they can rub upon occasion. The rocker arm shafts I'm going to use are actually 1000 cc engine rocker arm shafts, and I'm doing that because the brass plugs I found, actually the brass caps I found I want to use on this engine, are 1/2 20 thread, which is what the 1000 cc rocker arm shaft is, as opposed to 5/16 24 thread, which is what the 900 cc rocker arm shafts use. I don't think it matters for this purpose of test fit, but I had the washer and the spring in there backwards. Test fit time. Okay, front head, fresh valve job. Okay, let's see how we made out. This one has lots of clearance in here. And the exhaust is dangerously close, but it's not quite touching. Right in here is the area I'm concerned about. The exhaust is, there's got to be at least 60 or 70 thousandths of a clearance in there. So this one's okay. And here's the intake side. There's probably an 1/8 of an inch clearance in there. So this one's okay. So we're going to take these rocker arms and install them in the rocker box that goes on the motor, and that will be good to go. Alright, let's stuff this all in here. Front rocker box, exhaust valve, intake valve. Exhaust valve rocker has this little extra oil hole in it. Intake valve rocker arm does not. You got a hardened washer and a spring. I found several rocker boxes where this washer was cracked and came out in 2 pieces. Don't know why. I mean, it doesn't seem like there should be much load on it, but apparently there was. Shafts have all been cleaned up, blown out. Installed. This owner wanted me to use as much brass as possible. These brass nuts are commercially available from McMaster Carr, and a package of 10 was, I don't know, $8-12 probably. You could buy this hardware at various places on the internet, except when you buy 4 from, these providers of this stuff, these 4 nuts are probably, $39. But commercially available, nothing special about them. 7/16 20 thread. And the thing that's kind of interesting is they're metric. The hex is metric. This is 19 millimeters. Who'd have thought? Well, they're probably made in China. So, yeah, the native unit of measurement, the millimeter. Anyway, you like it, you don't like it. It's not your bike. It's this guy's bike, and he wanted brass nuts. He's got them. Yesterday, I did the valve job on these heads. The other one looks pretty much just like this one. And I didn't video any of that because, this is kind of a lot of work to do, and switching back and forth from cutting to valve grinding compound to cutting to video. It just gets to be too problematic for me, and, adds many minutes, if not hours, to the job. So I didn't video it. But let's talk a little bit about what I did, and I drew a couple of pictures here, and you could look at them and you could decide whether they make any sense to you or not. Just to start out with, 900cc stock engine, intake valve is 1 13/16, exhaust is 1.5. On this engine, I use 1000cc intake valves, diameter 1 15/16, or 1/8 of an inch oversize. And the exhaust, you could buy 1/8 inch oversized exhaust valves for 900s and 1000s. And on 1000, the stock size is 1.5. But anyway, 1/8 inch oversize ends up being 1 5/8. So this engine has oversized valves in it. It's not going to make any more power because the ports are pretty much still the ports. It might make more power because the seats are good. It's not going to be losing any compression, but just making the valves bigger doesn't necessarily make you any more power. So let's look at why I decided to go this route. This is pretty much the seat that was in it when I started out. It had had a number of valve jobs done to it, and the 3-angle cuts were just pretty much all wiped out. They had just been sticking a 45-degree cutter in there and making it wider and deeper. Of course, you make it wider and deeper, the valve drops farther and farther into the hole, and eventually you end up with so much of the valve stem sticking out from the other side of the head that it really causes problems with the rocker arm geometry. Some of them, they drop in there so far that it's even hard to get the push rods in and out when the tappet blocks are, the adjusters are screwed all the way in. So this is undesirable. You don't want this, but this is what he had. When I put the oversized valve in it, of course the valve is now bigger diameter, so it could ride up farther in the head. And that allowed me to do a true 3-angle cut on it. The angle where it meets the valve face is 46 degrees. The top cut is 30 degrees. And what the point of this is you want the valve to hit the seat like right in the middle of the valve face. So once you get your 45 cut, actually the valve is 45 and the seat is 46, because theoretically the valve is touching this corner of the 46 in just one spot. You want the angles to be different. You don't want them to be the same. But anyway, You cut your 46, you stick your valve in the hole, in the guide, and I use Sharpie on the face of the valve, and I spin the valve just a quarter of a turn to rub it off. And I don't spin it all the way around, because if you spun it all the way around and there was one hide spot, it would scrape the Sharpie off all the way around. You don't want to do that, because you want to know truly that you have 100% contact all the way around the valve face. So I just stick it in there and I rotate it, you know, like not even a quarter of a turn, you know, 60 degrees maybe, back and forth, just to scrape the Sharpie off so I could see where I am. If the face is completely clean, that means I've got to lower the top cut. So I'll put my 31-degree cutter in there and I'll start cutting until the top layer of Sharpie is still there, and the rubbed off starts down in this area. And then you do the same thing on the bottom. If the valve is completely wiped off all the way down, you go in with your 60-degree cutter, and that widens the bottom edge here, so that your contact area, it just gets back up in the middle. So, you know, I tried to show that here. This is where you want your contact to be. Your 46-degree cut goes in here. Your 31-degree cut goes in here. Actually, this side's a little better. And your 60-degree cut goes over here. But anyway, I got nearly perfect contact all the way around. I filled the ports up with mineral spirits, parts washer, mineral spirits, and I see if they hold. And if I don't see anything dripping out of there after, 10 minutes or whatever, it'll be good to go. I use New Way seat cutters, and some people say, oh, it's junk, you shouldn't do that, But New Way is what Harley has in the manual as an acceptable tool to use this, and if you use them carefully, they work just fine. And I believe New Way will even tell you that, a freshly cut seat, it's not absolutely required that it's leak proof, because there's little machining ridges that are left by the cutter, and within the first few minutes of operation, those get peened down, and the valve kind of seats itself. So anyway, that's where we went with this. It was another several $100. Could have put hardened seats in it. For absolute longevity on a bike that you're going to ride hard on the expressway, yeah, you probably want to do that. But this is going to be one of them weekend drivers. It's going to be 100% fine. So anyway, that's the valve job done. Both engines, the rocker boxes are assembled. So other than paint, the top end is ready to go back together again. Here's a little preview of the next video. The last really significant operations I have to do on this motor is to get a pair of cylinders ready to go. These are reproduction jugs. I got them from an outfit called BMI Carts, and they sell a lot of Harley parts there. These, as it so happens, were made in India. They're standard bore. Well, they're standard bore, but this is a standard bore piston. I never expected that the piston was going to fit exactly right out of the box. So they're going to need to be at least honed several thousandths, if not bored several thousandths. I'm just guessing here, by the way this fits, that there's probably 7 or 8 thousandths of material that's got to come out of this jug to get a piston to fit with the clearance it needs to have. Anyway, made in India, so it's said on the box. Are they any better than B twin cylinders? I don't know. They look really pretty nice. I mean, the parting, here it is over here. You look at where the parting seam on the mold was, and man, it's nice. It's better than Harley is. The halves of the mold matched up at least. And like I say, this is better than HD does on most of them. The finish inside there looks good. Not that it matters, because they got to be bored or honed anyway. but they look halfway decent. So we're going to give these guys a try. And if you've been watching my channel, you should have seen the last one of the short videos I did about a viewer in England there who had a panhead cylinder from V-twin with a hole in it. But you know, these look good. I'm looking forward to getting this done. I had jury duty today. Well, I had a report, and they informed me now that I have to go back on Thursday to serve in a trial if I make it through the screening process. Last time I had jury, I got jury duty, they kicked me out right away. It was kind of funny. They don't tell you what the case is about right from the get-go, but I gathered that it was a domestic violence case having to do with alcohol. So one of the questions they asked everybody was, would you object to a state-mandated blood draw for alcohol testing? So they asked everybody in the poll, and you know, they want to gauge your answer. Well, shit, I was, I don't know, third or fourth guy from the end, and everybody had said, no, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. They got to me and said, do you have a problem with that? I said, hell yeah, I do. A blood draw is an invasive medical procedure. I've got the right to decide what medical procedures I'm going to undergo or not. And as far as I'm concerned, the state doesn't have a right to stick a needle in me if I don't want them to. Furthermore, to me, that's being forced to give up potentially self-incriminating evidence against myself. And the Fifth Amendment says I don't have to do that. Well, the defendant had been sitting there, and he, you know, was listening to all of these people, and, you know, there really wasn't much of a reaction. But as soon as I said that, his head perked up, his eyes looked over at me, and he kind of halfway smiled. He knew that if I was on that jury, he has a half a chance of maybe beating the rap. Of course, they threw me out. They said, okay, you're out of here. So that didn't last long. So anyway, we'll see what happens Thursday when I go back. I'll tell you about it next time. But anyway, this is on the docket, so to speak, for the next video. And we're going to bore these two sides. And shortly thereafter, I should be able to slap the engine together. And anyway, looking forward to it. Looking forward to finishing this up. Y'all take it easy. Get yourself a nice new Ironhead cycle sticker. Get yourself a old coffee cup. I'm going to make a new batch of these. These are almost running out. And when I run out, I'm going to get some white cups and put this this logo on them. But anyway, that's down the road a piece. We'll get to it when I get to it. For now, I am out of here. Thanks for watching. The biggest thing you can do to help me out is subscribe. So please subscribe. Join me on Patreon if you feel like it. And we're going to wrap this up in the next 2 or 3 videos. I am out of here. Bye.